Our next session is sponsored by Datego. The title is What's Next for RFID in Retail. Please join me in welcoming our speaker, Luke Sinclair, Marketing Manager at Datego.
Hey everyone, so my name is Luke Sinclair, Marketing Manager at Datego, and as the title says, I'm going to talk to you about some of the really kind of cool, new, innovative use cases we're exploring in RFID in retail today, and yeah, go from there. But just to get started, I'll give you a quick intro to Datego and what we do, and kind of how we operate within retail today. So at Datego, we focus purely on software solutions for retailers, and we're essentially trying to unlock the power of RFID through that. These solutions kind of cover everything from the warehouse to the store, even consumer engagement in the store with smart fitting rooms and displays, as well as the full analytical and reporting engine. So as a kind of overview, the biggest benefits we're seeing in RFID in retail today are the use of real-time data, the improved inventory accuracy and product availability that comes with that visibility over your data, and again, the traceability in the supply chain all the way back to the factory. We're really proud to be working with some of the biggest retailers in the business, Adidas, Levi's, Bestseller, and we take a really strong kind of partnership approach to this, which is what we kind of think helps differentiate us in the industry. So I'll just quickly touch on kind of how we do it and how we work within retail today, and then go on to kind of the new innovative use cases we're kind of exploring. So the story generally starts in the factory where item's produced and given its RFID label, and from there it has its own unique digital identity. From there, using a bunch of different hardware and processes, we kind of track and manage that data as it goes throughout the supply chain, i.e. the product as it goes throughout the supply chain. Tunnels and tables are often used in the factory, in the warehouse or the distribution centre, and then in the store, often with handheld readers. The store is where we see most of the value. Sorry, that's kind of lagging a little bit here. Store is where we see most of the value in RFID, because the processes we can make extremely efficient and a lot more accurate, and all kind of guided through the software applications that we use. So generally there's a lot of different touch points throughout the supply chain in the store that RFID kind of has its effects in. This is a example of what it looks like in the DC, or a distribution centre. So this is actually a Avery Dennison tunnel, and what it's doing is verifying every carton as it goes out of exits the DC to either a customer or a store, and kind of ensuring that it's 100% accurate without even having to open the carton, and fully automated. So generally that's kind of, we're stopping mistakes before they get to the store and having to send things back, and kind of creating that visibility all the way up the supply chain. So those kind of solutions are kind of next step in automating the warehouse. This is what it kind of looks like in a store environment. So this is the back room of a store performing a stock take. So you can see that's the application on the right there, and I mean you can see the benefit straight away, the scanning hundreds of thousands of tags within a matter of seconds, all kind of guided for the store staff, made really simple and easy. So it's essentially revolutionising these traditional stock management processes and making them really efficient and really accurate. So with stock accuracy we can get that up to 98, 99%. And in turn, that drives product availability, this is essentially the snapshot of RFID in retail today. By gaining an accurate view on stock, driven by all these efficient processes, we can then ensure that product's always available across all channels, whether it's e-commerce or in the store. And building on top of that, we can add the omni-channel services, because the likes of click and collect, ship from store, you don't want to be doing those as a retailer unless you can ensure that product's always going to be available for the customer, and allowing that transparency on all channels around what's actually available, and being 99% accurate that your system's correct. So with this kind of today's view, the kind of key benefits we're seeing with customers is reduction of out of stocks by up to 50%, so no more lost sales in the store, no more disappointing customers, and in turn increasing revenue by between 5 and 15%, and in some cases increasing margins by 1 to 2%. So that's kind of the view of today. So now I'll kind of go into some of the cool new areas we're exploring to make RFID more accessible and more advanced in every kind of aspect, no matter where in the journey you are with RFID. So one of the key questions we're kind of continuing to ask ourselves is how can we speed up implementation? How can we make RFID software more accessible to more retailers, not just the big tier 1 retailers? So we use this term RFID in a box. Essentially, we're creating out-of-the-box RFID solutions. So how can we make them as kind of plug-and-play as possible, which is something that's always kind of been quite difficult in the RFID space. So we kind of follow this mantra of make it simple, make it fast, make it effective. So make it simple. You just saw the app before. It's a cloud-hosted app, user-friendly, guides store staff right through the processes, requires minimal training and only a little bit of education around how it works. Make it fast. Again, it's delivered as a cloud-hosted solution, one integration point. Essentially, we want to be retailers to be able to, we can get this going within hours or a day if you've got tags in the hardware, and the app can connect to any of the hardware, and essentially it's plug and play. And that, with some of our customers, we've seen some rolling out up to 25 stores in a week. So, big scale rollouts of 600 to 1,000 stores, we can kind of make that happen really quickly. So, and then lastly, make it effective. I mean, we take a phased approach to RFID implementation, so focusing on the kind of key value drivers within the business is really important to us. So as a starting point, just looking at stock accuracy and product availability, we can do that with this most basic solution, and from there you can kind of see those increases in revenue, and that will then drive the next stage or the next phase of implementation, where you might be integrating with more systems and adding new features or moving upstream into the warehouse. So that's focusing on this out-of-the-box kind of mentalities where we see the kind of next phase in RFID. Another cool area is AI meets RFID, artificial intelligence. I was just at an AI and retail conference a couple of weeks ago, and the number one challenge that all of the retailers looking to implement AI were citing was the reliability of their data. So this is where AI and RFID are the perfect match. RFID, we got lots of data, really accurate and down to the item level, so that's really opening up huge opportunities. We have a data science team at Datego who absolutely love this, and they're kind of exploring all these great new ways. Previous speaker just touched on visual merchandising. That's all, again, areas we're looking at. I will briefly go through 3 different kind of areas to give a little flavour, and then if you have more questions at the end, we can always connect you with our data science team who actually give you the real deal. So one kind of area is product availability. Cool, kind of a big challenge for a lot of retailers is the maintenance or even the deployment of planograms using any type of actual data. So if you're not familiar with a planogram, it's essentially the rule set for optimizing different sizes for a particular style to be represented on the sales floor. So you might know that extra smalls are in less demand than a medium, so you only want to have 1 extra small on the sales floor at all times, but you want to be trying to have 3 mediums and 3 large because you know there's a larger demand for them. So what we're doing is taking the real-time sales data and the current on-floor availability of the store and creating a self-learning planogram that actually automates the process of planogram and updates it in the system. And then from there, the software will actually guide the store staff on how many should be refilled, and that could be changing daily, but it'll all be automated through the software. So that's a really kind of cool area, and there's other stuff we're doing with money mapping and visual merchandising as well, which something that our data scientists can definitely expand on. Another area we're looking at is how can we improve operational processes. So many of the processes already performed with RFID and how we can improve those with AI. So an example of this is the replenishment process. Store staff has to replenish items from the back room to the sales floor. Generally, they'll do this with a guided pick list of all the items that need to be replenished. Traditionally, they would be just doing this based on where they think the items are in the back room. But now that we can understand exactly where tag locations are, we can set the most efficient picking route for that store staff and taking into account other factors such as the current demand for that product, the value of it, and a whole lot of other things. So yeah, that's another kind of how we are improving current operational processes. Then third kind of area is demand prediction. Having this complete view of stock across the entire store network and the DCs means that we can then start seeing how different demand in different locations work, and from there the software can basically provide actionable recommendations about moving stock from one store to another rather than kind of having a push strategy from the DC or factory. So different markets might have more demand for a particular style, and if it's not, for example, Germany might have a much more interest in a certain blouse, but in London it's not so much, and then they can move that stock from there and predict that kind of sales, predict the sales there. So it's essentially ensuring the right products at the right place at the right time. So another really cool area which we've just completed a rollout is the smart tech for the customer. So how can we make the RFID customer facing? What kind of benefits can we bring to that to excite and engage the customer in the store? We just rolled out in partnership with Adidas and a couple of other key partners, smart fitting room concept in the Adidas flagship store on Oxford Street. If you haven't seen it or been there, definitely go check it out. It's really cool. It's full of all sorts of great tech, and we're really, really proud and happy to be in there with 6 smart fitting rooms in that store. So essentially the smart fitting room it's bringing the online experience into the fitting room. So it's an interactive mirror when you go into the fitting room, and it has a RFID reader in the back end of it, and when you bring in items with an RFID tag, it will automatically detect what's in the room with you. Then using the accurate data of what's actually in the store, you can request different sizes. So essentially you're never really leaving the fitting room until you're happy with the size you've tried on and happy with that experience. So awesome way to kind of engage customers and boost that kind of customer loyalty. But then the second part of that is also new insights for the retailer. So you can start looking at how certain articles are converting in the fitting room. So are people trying them on and actually buying them, or are they trying them on and leaving them behind? And the next step is we actually have a AI-powered kind of product recommendation engine that can try to increase basket size basically by suggesting similar products or other ones that might be considered favourable for the customer. The last kind of area that we're looking at is how can we take. I mean, we've focused on fashion predominantly throughout the existence of our company, but how can we take all those learnings and applications from fashion or apparel and bring them into new markets? So, I mean, the business case is very solidified in fashion, and that's we're just trying to continuously improve that. But the likes of beauty and cosmetics now, traditionally really tough to crack with RFID because the different sizes of items and different materials made it really difficult to tag everything. So, but now there's on metal and on liquid tags. There's much smaller tags. So basically now everything can be tagged in the store. Beauty is now opened up to basically be able to reap the same benefits that you'd see in fashion. All this inventory accuracy and product availability as the first step. And there's plenty to go from there. Another area that's quite interesting is food, especially fresh food management, like meat and poultry. We're looking at, this is kind of whole new use cases and business case. I mean, how can we reduce food wastage? Also, how can we manage the the shelf life of products, which is something really important. So by encoding expiry dates into the RFID labels, our software can actually understand what's expired on the shelf, what's expiring soon, so that you can actually mark that product down and get it off the shelf. And get it sold before it expires, as well as what's okay to sell. So again, that's a whole new kind of industry and new use cases, but there's a lot of kind of potential in there. So really kind of exciting stuff. And only just kind of scratch the surface at the moment, but if you want to get in touch with us, we've got a table out back and happy to kind of discuss more. So yeah, thank you.